I think I'd like to work on this little container at the back of the vehicle now. That looks like it'd be kind of fun. So let's try this. Ultimately, I think it's just a cube that we can move into place and then begin shaping to fit the reference image. So let's do that. Let's press Shift A and then let's create a cube. And I'll scale it down. Let's go to a wireframe and let's go to that side view and start putting it in place. So I think right here, I'll just kind of put it in place like this, so it's the width of it right there. And then I'll move it up to here. And let's then tab into edit mode and grab that face on the bottom there and just pull it down to where that angle is, where it angles in. And then from here, we could just hit E and extrude straight down like that. And then if we hit the 1 key, deselect everything, and then I'm just going to press the B key and border select these 2 points here, and then drag them straight in like that to get that angle there. Let's tumble around and see what we've done here. So there it is. Now let's press Control 1 to go to the back view, and I'll just drag this over until it kind of is in line with this right here. And then if we go back to edit mode and just border select these points, we can then drag them over to here. There we go. So that's the general width of that piece. Now we just need to bring this in just a bit. So once again, let's just border select these points and drag it in the X to about right there. All right, let's take a look at it. What do we have here? Yeah, I think that's generally what we want. Now, for this top piece, it really looks like this top piece is a completely separate object, and then this piece that we just created goes up and connects to it. So let's just create this piece now on the top. Once again, Shift A, cube, and let's get it in place here. Hit the G key and move it up. And let's scale it down. And I just want to get it about the right size here at the front. Something like this. And then I'll just tab into edit mode, hit the 3 key to go to face mode, and then just drag that back. And it's hard to know how far. I'll bring it, for now I'll bring it back to right here to kind of connect up with this. There's a lot of other things going on here. It's kind of hard to see in the reference image what needs to be done, but let's try this here. Looks like I need to bring it over now. So let's go this way. And I'll just line it up with this side. And then once again, let's select that face there. And then slide it over to match the width of the first object there. So there we go. We've got that basic shape down. It looks to me like that gap is a little too much. Let me just bring that down some like this. Let's try that. Now that we've got those basic shapes, we can go ahead and begin adding a couple of other details, like this little flap that goes up to connect to that top piece. Let's put that in place. So actually, if I take this and move it back a bit, and also I'll grab that face and go ahead and move it on back to here. What I can do is select this piece and press Control R, and let's create an edge right here on the end like this, and then select that one face that was created, and let's hit E and drag it up and kind of put it right there. Okay, so now we've got that. And once again, we are just blocking things out. We're not putting all the little details of all the bolts and screws and connecting pieces at this point in time, because frankly, I'm not sure yet if I want to do all of these bolts here as geometry or as textures. I really want to see, once we're all done blocking all the pieces in, what our poly count is. And then I can kind of decide whether I want to create geometry for these and place it all over, or create it as a texture as a normal map. So we're still going to have to think about that as we get farther along in the project. All right, so let's now think about connecting back here. It looks to me like there's a piece right here that comes off of this and connects to that brace. So let's do that. Let's work on that. I think all I need to do is select this, and we need to insert a couple of edge loops and also use that edge loop flipping trick with the E and the F key. So let's do that. Let's press Control R, and then I'm going to click and drag this over, and you can see how it's kind of angled there toward the bottom. Let's now press the E key and then press F and toggle between those two. So I want it straight up and down like that, so I'll just move it into place and click. And then let's do that again. I'll press Control R, click, and now I want to hit E, and let's toggle this. We want it straight up and down like that. There we go. So as I said, I'm hitting the E key after I click the mouse to lay down that edge, and then I'm pressing the F key to toggle back and forth between that edge being straight and being conformed to the angle of the object. All right, so I'll hit the 3 key and now select these two faces, and I can hit E and pull that out. There we go. So now we've got kind of a connecting edge there, as if it's been kind of bolted to that support piece. All right, what else do we want to do? Well, you know what we could do while we're here is add these things. So there are these cylindrical pieces on the top of this particular container. And it looks to me like they're just kind of connecting pieces that you can put anything onto. Like this up here has one of these put on it, and over here it doesn't have anything. So I kind of like this thing right here. Let's maybe add one of these. That might be kind of nice. So what let's do is select this, and I'm going to select this face and then move the 3D cursor to it with Shift S2. And then I'll press Shift A and create a cylinder at this spot right here. I think I'm going to change the number of vertices from 32 to say 24 so it isn't quite so dense. And then I'm going to change the cap fill type from N-Gon to triangle fan. All right, so now let's scale it down. There it is. And let's see, it's about maybe that big. Hit the period key to zoom in and then press S and Z and scale it down a bit like that. So there it is. So it's maybe about like that. Now I just want to slide it over here into this corner. And of course I could do that by pressing S and then Shift Z as we've done before to turn off the Z axis so we're only sliding it around in the X and Y. But also that's what these little squares are for as well. So if I want to slide it in the X and the Y axis here, I can just click and drag the blue one, which coincides with the Z axis. So basically clicking the blue one here turns off the Z axis. So I can click and drag and it just slides in the X and the Y. So I'll put that right about here. And then let's go ahead and extrude up to create these pieces here. So let's tab into edit mode, and I'll hit the 3 key to go to face mode, and then let's press the C key for the circle select tool, and we can paint our selection. Right click to get out of that, and then let's hit I to inset, and we'll just bring that in just a bit like this. I'm working on this right here. Hit E and bring that up some. Now let's hit E to extrude and then S to scale out like this. And then I'll hit E to bring that up, I to inset, then E to extrude up. And I think it kind of looks like it angles in. I don't know. Let me try it. I'm going to angle it in just a bit like this. Why not? Hit I and scale that in just a bit. Now I'm going to extrude up, and it looks like there's something a little bit extra here. It's really hard to tell with all the pixelation, but I think what I'll do is I'll hit E and move that up, and then I'll hit E again, move it up, and then hit S and scale it out just a bit. And then let's extrude back up again. Then I'm going to hit E and S, scale out. I'll bring it up some because it looks a little bit angled there. And then I think I can just hit E and bring it straight up like that. Let's try that. Yeah. Okay. So there we go. It's kind of blocky. I'd like to smooth it out some. So let's go to Object, Shade Smooth. And then let's also come over here to our object data panel right here. And let me twirl these up. And we go to normals, turn on auto smooth. And it looks like we could maybe bring this down. Let's take it all the way down to 0, and then we'll drag up and see how it smooths out a bit. That's not bad. Something about like that, maybe. It's still kind of having a problem around in here. Trying to find the best. If I drag it way up, then we get problems there. So what I could do maybe is just go up to say 16 or 17, and then we could come in here and select these edges, say this edge and this edge, and maybe these. Let's try this. And let's press Control E, and let's use the Mark Sharp tool here. We'll click that, and there we go. That sharpens them up quite a bit. Yeah, so I think that works pretty well. In the next video, we'll continue working on the back of the vehicle.